All right, today we're going to be working on the porch swing. I did notice at least one part that I forgot to put in here, so we'll be doing that too in the beginning. So Inventor, if you haven't got into the project already, you can't have anything open when I'm not going to save anything in there, when you go into a project. So I'm already in the porch swing, but if you're not, you just got to go to open, okay, and hit projects here, okay. And then make sure you pick the right one. If it's not available there, go to browse and go get it. It's the IPJ file, remember. So on your U job, you should have created that last class. If you didn't, it isn't the end of the world. Just make sure you're saving everything in the correct place. Okay. I'm going to open that assembly up. Okay. So there's the assembly. All right, so we're going to finish assembling this thing. Probably one of the first things, I guess, is I am missing a part on this. I noticed a few minutes ago. It was the bottom seat supports. No, they're 1/2 inch wide. Seat slats. Okay, this one right here. Okay, so I'm going to create that one real quick. And then bring it in there. So just, and what size was that? So that was 48 by 1 3/8 wide and 1/2 inch thick. Okay, so that's all these little pieces that go across the seat right here. So we need all them in there. So if you did that already, you're just going to have to bear with me for 1 minute. If you didn't do it, because I skipped it, you might have too. So we're going to hit create here, and I'm going to call this seat slat all caps. Okay, and it looks like it's going to the right place on mine. Make sure yours is too. The file folder location. If not, go pick it. Okay, hit OK. Wants to know a plane to start out with. I'm not going to. That's kind of dangerous to give it one. Then it will always be on that plane. I guess it should be okay. So I'll just pick that plane to start out with right there. All right, and then. Go to, so now we're basically making that part inside the assembly. Start 2D sketch. And I'm going to make sure it's going the right direction because it'll be locked to this plane. Just not good. That's not what I wanted to do. So I'm going to return back into it. Instead of doing that, I want it to be completely free floating because it's going, those seat slats are going all over the place. So I escaped and hit return. I'm going to create a new one. So file, new, part, instead of trying to create it inside the assembly, because I don't want to pick that XY plane and lock it to that. Start 2D sketch, XY plane. I'll just stay over the top of that seat slat here in a minute. Rectangle, 2-point center, probably, I guess. Doesn't really matter. I think that was 1 3/8 by 1/2, 48 long. Okay. So 1.375. is 1 3/8 tab, 0.5 tall. Okay, so it's a 1 3/8 by 1/2 inch rectangle. Pretty simple one. Finish sketch. Right click to finish sketch. Right click extrude, and it's 48 inches long. And it does have some fillets on the top. They don't really tell you what they are, but I'm assuming they're going to be about 1/4 inch. I should notice that from the picture. You look closely at the picture, so it doesn't. I sat in enough of these seats that I know that if that's got a sharp edge, well, it's not very comfortable to sit on, as you can imagine. So you want to kind of put a fillet around them. So I think it's a good idea to do that. So we'll go ahead and do that. This may be a 1/4 inch fillet, so 0.25 instead of 1/8 size, and just the top 2 edges. Okay, that'll make it a lot smoother. And then make it the right material. Go back to generics. I think we did cherry last time, I think. Yep, that looks right. So we'll save that. I'm going to go to the, first time you save it's going to go to ask you what you want to save it as anyway. And since I'm in the right project, it brought me to the right place. I'll just call it seat slat. Save. It doesn't like that because I already had one in there. I just created it wrong. So I'm going to call it seat slat 2. I don't really like to do, but oh well. All right, so seat slat 2. All right, so we've got that made. Now I can go back. I can go ahead and shut that down. Go back into my porch swing. Drop that.
Radius of that edge.
Quarter inch.
Yep.
All right, so we need to bring that one in, right? So go to place, place. Go find it. Should bring you right to it, basically. See, slat 2, open. I'm going to need about 11 of these, so you can either bring in 11 of them, or you can just copy them. It's a lot faster just to bring in 11 right now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. And then the escaper to get them all in there. All right, I think we've got all the parts in there now that we're going to need. We can always make more of them by just hitting copy or bring them in. It does the same thing. As long as you make sure you hit the circle and make it a yellow circle when you copy so you don't create a new part. I'm going to put the front on because it'll help me line up those seat slats. Those are the hardest things to constrain, is these darn seat slats. I kind of fought it for a little bit too. So but I think we'll do it together, at least a couple of them, and then I'll let you guys do the rest of it on your own. Probably before we do that, I guess I did notice something at the end of last class that was a little bit off, and we're going to notice a couple things like that along as we go, especially when you're just drawing something up, you know, from an old drawing like this. It's pretty cool though that you can do that, because they've been making these for hundreds of years, right? So we're going to make a little change to this one because there's something else that didn't line up right. And notice this one didn't line up right. We had to make it longer last time too when we were here, right? They it's that thing called the arm. We had to go in there and make it longer. Kind of the same way. This little truss or whatever you want to call it on there is a little bit too long. All right, so it's kind of nice modifying that from inside the assembly, and I'll show you. So just double click on it so we can modify it. And then go to a view that you can see the side profile. So I'm going to spin it to the back. I'm going to be on the left side there, just so I can see the whole thing real nice like that. And then you can see that it overlaps the arm by roughly a quarter inch. So you know that you don't want that sharp edge on there. So you might as well fix it. So I'm going to expand the extrusion over here in the browser and double click on sketch 1. Okay, and if you have to spin it around because all your numbers are backwards, you know, you can always spin around the other way too to go to the right side, but mine's fine, so I'm gonna stick where I'm at. Okay, and so I made that 3, and it looks like it probably ought to be 2.75, and that was definitely right off the drawing, but some of these things you can always improve upon them. 2.75. Double click on 3 and change it to 2.75. You can see now that lines up perfect. So that's kind of what we want. Right, so then I'm going to hit right click and hit finish sketch. Okay, and it shrinks it on the right side. Now usually you want to save it when you do this before you get back out of the assembly, or out of the part I mean. So I'm going to go to save right here, hit save. And then I got to hit return to get to the assembly. Okay. Now I'm right back into assembly. So the reason I wanted to fix that is because if we mirror it, well, it wouldn't hurt it, but still update. But it's nice to have it fixed before we mirror it. And anything else we see that's messed up, fix it along the way. But that's really looking.
Did your rear face come off of your board at all? Whenever you shrunk the 3 inches?
No, it might straighten up when you go back into the assembly. So if it gets like out of alignment or something, don't worry about it until you go back into the assembly. You can always pick on that part and then expand it over here in the assembly with a plus. And then you can always delete a constraint if it's wrong, but it should straighten itself out. And there is an update button over here in the manage called rebuild all. Sometimes you have to update that as well. All right. Everybody forgets to see me hit the red button when I'm talking and yell at me. It's easy to forget to turn the recording on. Okay. All right, so I think I'm going to do the front first so I can use that to put the seat slats on. Okay. This is the little front piece, and we'll notice in a minute that it doesn't work out very nice either, I don't think. So we'll just see how it fits here. All right, so let's put it on. It's pretty simple assembly. Hopefully you made this support here 90 degrees with the bottom and the side. Because if you do, then of course the bottom and the side will work out real good with this. And I don't know if I emphasized that very much from the original video, but you can always go back in here and force this face to be 90 degrees with that face. All right, so go to Constrain, and we're just going to constrain the two bottoms. Make sure you pick the flush button on the constraints and the two bottoms of the, and it really doesn't matter which one you do. I'm going to do the big sport. Okay, with this one, just make sure this, of course, you could have done this one too, and the bottom of that front little angled looking thing. All right, now the two bottoms are flush. Make sure they're flush. Apply. Okay, now I think this face and this face are supposed to be flush. From the picture, it's kind of hard to tell, but I think so. So we'll hit the flush button there and the flush button. You could also check that from the measurements and then hit apply. Okay, so now we're going to be opposed. So switch it over to mate or opposed there, okay? And you can probably guess we're going to do this front face with the main face on this one. And it locks up real nice. That thing actually worked out perfect. Now this would be another one if you know these two weren't the same height right here. This would be a place to go in and fix it. But I guess we figured that out when we were making them because they match perfectly. So that's great. Now one thing I noticed when I was looking at this a little bit ago was see how the curvature of the top kind of goes to an abrupt change right here. So that's going to be an issue when we try to put the next part on it, but I think we can fix that pretty quickly. So we'll just be another thing that's probably going to hit us here in a little bit, but nothing too bad. All right, so now we're just going to pick any one of these. I'm going to hit escape, get out of constraints. I'm going to put the first one of these on. All right, so these get a little tricky. So you're going to want to tangent them to this curve up here. And it's always difficult when you're doing tangents to get them all to line up nice. And of course, the front point of this edge should probably be on the front point of this edge. Okay. And the easy one is making this face flush with this face, just like we did last time. So let's do the easy one first. Hit constrain, pick flush. Okay. And same big face we picked last time on that little sport. And with the matching face, make sure it's flush. Your constraints with the matching face on the seat rail or seat, whatever they call that thing, right? Apply. All right, now it gets difficult. So now we can probably do a tangent. Okay, so we couple things we can do here. Probably could do the tangent right away, but I'm gonna probably do that in a minute. We could do these straight edges on this one, okay, but I don't know. Let's see if that would be nicer or not. Probably not as nice. So let's do the points. Let's do these two. This edge. I guess this whole edge can be tangent to it, can be locked into this whole edge. So let's do that. I'll probably have to think these through a little bit. So we hit constrain and leave it on mate and pick this edge, not face, just the edge, okay? And then match it with this edge right here. Not letting me pick that edge, but maybe we don't need to. Oh, there I got it. I think I got it. So make sure you get just the edge like I got there, okay? It's sitting so long. If you can't get it to pick, if you sit there long enough, okay, if you sit there long enough like I just did, it gives you the options. Then you can hit the drop down and go till you get the one you want, okay? Now, if you pick it right off the bat, you don't need to go through all that. But remember, you can just hang there long enough and it'll let you. So I'm going to pick that edge, okay? Now, it lined up those real nice. I'm going to hit undirected. That gives me the most possibility. So it just means that the little arrows on the lines don't have to be lined up. Okay, so I'm picking undirected, apply. And I'm gonna close out of this thing, and now this face and this edge are lined up, so I can rotate it a little bit. So I'm gonna get it kind of close to where I want it, right? Okay, and you can see there's a huge gap here, right? Up here. I mean, it just doesn't look right at all. Okay, so I'm going to make this thing wider, a wider piece to straighten that out. Because remember, I said this thing had a huge curve in it, so you can see a big. It's not this. This is definitely not tangent with that. And I want it to be a lot closer to tangent. So making this thicker does that. We made it whatever they said on the instructions, but it's definitely not right. So that little front piece, double click on it, and let's go in there and edit it. Okay, and then over here in the browser where it says extrusion. Just expand that and double click on the sketch. Okay, now I tried this a couple different times a little bit ago, so to make sure it was right. So you could have played with this long enough till it looked like it was right, but let's just say it's 0.875. You want to use real numbers, and that's 7/8, 0.875, or you can just type 7/8. Either way, you apply. And that, it looks really, now that's pretty thick, but you got to remember this needs to be pretty strong anyway. So the run of the swing, it's going to get beat up a little bit. So that's real close to tangent with this line. 3/4 just wasn't quite there. I like this better. So, now granted, you have to cut down a 1-inch board, but it's not very tall. It's only 1 inch tall, so it's really not a problem. All right, so make that bottom 7/8 and then finish sketch. Save the part, and then hit the return button at the right. Okay. Now when you rotate this, see how much nicer that looks? It's really close to right. Okay, now it could have been maybe a little less, but 3/4 looked worse the other way. So, you know, none of these are going to be perfect on there because this is an arc. It's not like it's cut for the bottom flat every time. So that's, you know, maybe a 32nd of an inch. So that ain't very much. Fix that with a little glue. So that looks nice. Now it's not actually touching, so we've got to fix that. All right, so I'm going to put a point on the end of this thing and try to make it tangent with this curve here. We'll see if it actually works. So grab the point in the work features up here and put it at the bottom left corner of that little slat there. Like that, okay? So now I've got that on there, and I'll see if we can make that tangent with that top curve. I'm not sure it's going to work, but we'll try. So hit Constrain, pick that point that we just made, and pick this top curve. We could also pick that edge. It might both work the same way. And you notice it's not doing anything, right? Well, you got to hit the tangent button up here, okay? There's a button to make a circle tangent, which that curve is basically a circle in Inventor's mind, right? So pick that button. Did not like it. So it's making me repick it. There we go. I picked the line. I didn't even need that point, and the line worked real good, the edge of that board. Okay, that worked out really nice. All right, so I picked tangent, I picked the curve, and I picked that edge. Now you might have to spin it to pick the edge. I was able to pick through the part, but if you can't, then spin it and hit apply. And hopefully that works for you. If it doesn't, sometimes you have to play that game going back and forth between like a point and that edge, trying to get one of them to be tangent to this face or that little edge of the arc here. So, all right, so we've got the first one on there. Let's do one more of them, and then we're going to kind of move on. I'll let you finish that one up on your own. So we'll do one more since they're kind of difficult. So the next one, we'll do the front face again, just like last time. We'll probably do a midpoint. We could just do this edge, I guess, but then it's going to be too high up. I don't know if I like that, but I don't know if I have another option. Let's do the easy one first. All right, so we'll just turn it back to the regular mate constraint here, okay, and turn it to flush, okay, and then pick any one of these you want to work with. I'm gonna work on that one there, I guess, and flush it up with that. Okay, make sure I keep an eye on the one I moved there, or I did. Hit apply, okay. I guess I'll do those two edges and see how it looks. All right, so now I'm going to basically do this, try to do this edge here. So I have to go back to a regular old mate, okay, and then do this edge here with the opposite, with this matching edge on that slat I just put on. Okay. We could do this here, I guess, but I don't know if it would probably fail. So let's do the matching edge on that, see how it looks. And I'm going to turn it to undirectional again and apply. Okay. I'm going to cancel out of that and rotate it and see if I can get an idea how to line this up a little bit better. So if I make that tangent, it's definitely going to be sticking up. This is in my way. So if you want to hide these parts, you just pick on that part, right click, and turn the visibility off. And then turn it back on, you got to go over here in the browser and find it. It'll be kind of shaded out. And unhide it later, okay? But I don't want it in there right now, it's in my way. So I turn visibility off on that. So if I make that tangent, how bad is it going to look? I mean, in reality, when they build this thing, they're just going to basically put it on there as tight as they can and level it up as best they can, screw it down. So that's really not the best. So what I'm going to do is probably take this point and make it, I'm gonna try to make this edge actually again tangent with this curve like we did last time. Let's see if we can get that to work. And then you can keep following that process all the way through. So front faces, this line, and then this line to that. And that should be a consistent way to do that. So, and then granted, I know it's going through the part a little bit, but it's either going through the part or it'll be a space. Either one's really fine. So constrain and pick the tangent button again, okay? Pick this little line again. And I think we picked the whole face last time. Yeah, like that. Okay, so that looks really pretty good. Okay, so you should be able to consistently do that. Pick the front faces flush. These two lines mated along this edges, and then this edge tangent with this curve. Apply. And that seemed to work. Okay, and that actually is going to look really nice. So I don't know if you need 11 or whatever, but you know, if you end up with a little bitty gap back here, just go toward the back of it. So they don't. The last one does not need to. Don't make sure it doesn't go over the edge. Okay, and just put it back there as far as you can. Remember, there's going to be rails coming up through here in the front, so it doesn't have to go all the way to the back. So if you need 12 of them, add another one. Okay. All right. Let's finish up the other ones. The other ones are pretty easy, so let's knock them out, and then you guys can finish this whole project on your own pretty easily, I think. All right. So I want to unhide that part. So that was some kind of upright. See if I can find it back here. There's a lot of seat slats there. There it is. It's kind of hidden there. See, it's kind of grayed out. Okay, front upright. So I'm gonna right click on that and it should have turn visibility back on. And there it shows back up. Got kind of lucky on that one. All right. Okay, so we've got that on there. I think we're ready to mirror it. All right, so we've got one of them on there. Let's go ahead and mirror. Let's go ahead and mirror these parts here because I don't think we have any other ones to mirror. So they should keep all their constraints. They won't keep the constraints together with this, but since it's mirrored straight across, it should look fine. And all the constraints should stick if we mirror all these together. I don't think we'll have any problem with that. So let's do it. So let's go over to, I guess we need a middle plane first. I don't think we have one. No, we don't have one. So we need to make a middle plane. All right, and it's real easy to make a middle plane. Just pick 3 points that are in the middle of these. Now, it's kind of hard to find a point sometimes, but all right, so create a middle plane on this. And we could also say, I think this is 48 across. We could do some fancy math, but if I make this swing into a 5-foot swing and I use a middle plane, it'll automatically grow, which would be really nice. And that'd be the better way to do it. So let's go to plane. Mid-plane between 2 planes. That's even easier. That way we don't have to find 3 points. So let's pick mid-plane between 2 planes, okay? And just on this face of that front rail, okay? We're going to basically say jumping around. So that's one face right there. And you can kind of guess on the other side of that part, put another face, and it'll throw one right in the middle of those 2, okay? Oh, come on. Not liking me. Well, that's not working. I don't know. There, I was able to pick that face. I don't know why it wouldn't let me pick this one. Maybe it's not flush, but I was able to pick this face. All right. So let's see. And they're both the same, so it shouldn't make any difference. All right, so I've got that one now. I've got one right in the middle. It is weird that it wouldn't actually make one there. All right, so now we want to mirror all these parts here across, okay? So just pick mirror. Okay, if you can window them, if you can window them or just pick them all, there's only about 4 of them. It's making me pick them, so 5 of them, I guess. Basically that little assembly. So if you're building this, of course, you build that first all together and then put everything on it. All right, make sure when it says green here, this is a really big deal. Make sure that's not green or it's going to make a new part for every one of them into your file folder. And we don't want that because we're not making them different. I think they're all just, yeah, they're all symmetrical, so you can just flip them around and they should work from left to right. Now, if they weren't symmetrical, say you had something in there that made them not symmetrical, then you would want a new one made, okay? But we don't want that. All right, so we'll turn them all to yellow by hitting the top button there, and then we pick mirror plane, pick that plane we just made, and then we just hit next, and then should have no new parts here, and then hit OK. Okay, and it's starting to look like a porch swing, all right? Okay, so let's do a couple more parts on this thing, and it's going to be for the hard part to be done. All right, so let's put this top on there. This little part of it here sits flush with the top. If you look at the picture up at the top here, it kind of shows you that that little cut area is flush with all the top of there, right here. Okay. It looks like they added a radius to it later. We could do that later if we wanted to. Okay. All right, so let's put that on there. So we go to Constrain, switch it over to Flush, and kind of like we did last time, pick this little edge, leading edge right there, and it goes. Oh, I said that wrong. It's not Flush. It's Mate. So pick Mate. Switch it back to Mate, and it's the back side of that one. It goes in between there. All right, it goes right there. I'm pretty sure. All right. And hit apply. Okay, and then the two tops, we're going to make the tops line up. This one is definitely flush, so flush, and the top of this with the top of that. Hit apply. And then the two fronts are also flush. Front, front. Okay, so that one's pretty easy. Hit apply. Okay, like I said, if you want to go into this part and to put a radius on there, I don't know if it's really needed, so I'm not going to do it. Okay. And these would be put together with a couple, you drill a hole here and drill a hole here, and you put a couple nice wood screws with maybe some, there's some little washers you can buy. They're stainless steel that kind of make it look higher end. Or you could use a biscuit in there, which with a biscuit machine, that would actually put a biscuit in these, just a little wood wafer, glue it and that hold together without any fasteners. Now see, we can see something right here, something's not lining up. So that's what's going on here. These are all lining up real nice. That's good. So it's the top is the problem. So did they have it overhanging? Let's go look at our picture. I don't think they did. I would put it in between there if I was making it. It does look like it's, I mean, we didn't notch that out. It could be notched out for that and then go past it. I mean, that'd definitely be a possibility. Be more work. But did they show it notched out up here? There's the arm. This piece here. They don't really show that piece, but theoretically it could be notched out for that, but we're not going to notch it out. So we need to go in there and change it to make it 48 as well. All right, so that's easy. All right, and then this piece we might end up making 48 as well too. The top up here, it probably called it out as 49.5. Yeah, bottom back support. So if they're having them notched in there, I don't want to do that. This is our design, so we're not going to notch them in. So we go back in here, and we're just going to double click that and fix it. Okay. So just double click on that part. This should be fully constrained now. Okay. It's a nice thing about Inventor. Everything's parametric. In the extrusion, just double click on the icon. Try to avoid double clicking on the word because it thinks you want to rename it. So double click on the extrusion 1 icon and just change the length from 49.5. Oops, looks like we extruded it the other way. All right, so cancel that. We must have drawn it and extruded it 3/4, which there's a reason for that, right? So let's go the other way out. So expand the extrusion. So I canceled that. Expand extrusion, double click on the sketch icon. And where it says 49.5 there, make that 48. Okay, and then hit finish sketch. Save it. And then return. And it should automatically put it over there. If it doesn't, you just got to go to the manage screen and hit rebuild all or update. One of those two buttons usually brings it to place. But if you don't save it, it won't necessarily go over there either. Okay. So let's see how that looks. That looks all together better. All right, so we're going to have to do the same thing to that back support. So if you want to see that in there. But there's my bottom back, which we're going to do in a little while. We're basically going to put that on after we put these on, right? So let's go ahead and fix it while we're in there. So there's the bottom back support. It's just 3/4 by 2, I think, piece. Okay, so that's probably in the extrusion, I would think. So I'm double clicking on the extrusion, and it's like I made that one 48 by accident anyway. So it's good to go. Okay, we made it 49.5. Fix it. Okay. I might have modified that a while ago, so I don't know. So make sure yours says 48. All right, so it's fine, so I don't really need to save it, but I'm going to anyway, and then return. All right, so I think we got all our parts pretty close to right. Rest of it should be pretty easy. Okay, let's put these back pieces in there. I'll show you how to do that. We'll put this piece in there, and then it'll pretty much look like a swing, and you can add all the bottom rails and create a drawing with balloons and with bill of material on it and the overall sizes and weight, okay, like we normally do. And I'll try to upload a finished version too, so that you can see what it should look like. All right. Okay, so let's go to Constrain. And the first one, I guess there's a lot of possibilities here. So this thing is 3/4, I think, and this was half. We'll notice it right away if my memory isn't correct, but I think this half and 3/4. So let's do these two faces flush, and we'll set it back 1/8 of an inch. Okay. So pick flush, and then pick this front face, and then pick this face. Okay. Let's see where it put it. So it's got both arrows going that way, so it's probably a -1/8. Okay, to set it back. Sometimes it seems like it doesn't work like that, but it should usually. Yeah, see, it actually brought it forward. I saw it move it forward. So that's not going to work. So I'm just going to put 0.125 even on it. So if yours went the wrong way, see, that moved it back 0.1/8. 1/8 of an inch, okay? And hit apply. And you'll see it when you do it later. You can always go in that and double click on that mate and straighten it out later if it'd be wrong. Hit apply. All right, so let's do the top of this with the bottom of the other one, and that's not flush. That's going to be mated. So I'll pick mate and the top of this. And so the top of it is, on mine at least, so that's actually the bottom. Because I think it looks better when the bigger part is on the bottom and the smaller part is on the top. So I'm going to cancel out of that and try again. Constrain. Okay. That one. And again, we're going to be mated, not flush, on the top of this here. Okay. Notice it is 1/8 of an inch back, which is what we want, right? Apply. If yours was 1/8 of an inch back, you just got to go into that constraint. So say it was 1/8 of an inch back, you just pick on that, find it over here, and I picked on it, shows up blue, expand it, look at your constraints, and that one says 1/8. If you double click on it, it asks you what the number you want to put in there, make it a negative, and it'll flip it the other way, okay? All right, so now we've got all of them except for the distance here. I don't like it when things right up against there. It's a chance for mold and rot to happen. So I'm going to put a constraint in there with about 1/4 inch off. And you can always adjust those later in case things don't line up. It's hard to do all this math with the distances in between and everything else. So I'll probably just play the game of going back and forth till I get it. But you could actually get a calculator out and figure out how long this is and how many of them fit 48. I guess I should probably do that. So let's go to tools and figure that out. Try to do it right. So I have my hit measure and tools. You can just watch me do that once. I hit tools and measure. And I'm going to measure this edge if it lets me, or do 2 points. There, I finally got it. It's 2.5. I could look it up too, but that's 2.5. So 48. I want 1/4 inch in between every one of them, plus an extra 1/4. So there's 48 in between there. So I'm getting my calculator out. I'm going to take 48. There's an extra 1/4 because I got one in the beginning and the end, minus 0.25. Okay, so I got 47 3/4, and then I'm going to divide it by 2.5 plus 1/4 if I want 1/4 between it. So divide by 2.75. So divide by 2.75 equals, and I got some crazy number, 17.36. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put 17 of them in there, and then change this distance till they're about even and call it good. Okay, this 1/4 inch or whatever I put in between here. I'm going to make that. I think I put a 1 in there. I didn't put anything in there yet. So I could, let's see here, 17 3/6. So minus 17 of them equals 0.36 times 2.5 equals, okay, so it gave me a number left over of 0.909. So I'm going to divide that by 2 equals plus 0.25. Okay, so I did all the math, and it looks like it should be 0.7045 repeating in between here. All right, I probably did it wrong. There's a lot of little math on the calculator there. Let's just see if it works. All right, so I'm done there. Then we'll go back in here to the assembly one and go to constrain. Okay, so now we want to be opposed. We want to do this face to this face, and we're going to use that number I came up with, 0.7045. Okay. All right, and it looks like it's about the right. It's a good distance there. That'll be fine. Hit apply. Okay. All right, and that one's done. So now it said we needed 17 of them in there. Let's just see if it's going to work. All right, so to do this, this is a nice, easy one to do because it's flat. And I did try to like AutoCAD will actually let you do an array around a line. So we could have followed this pattern here and arrayed these along that, which is kind of cool for fencing and stuff like that. Like if you're doing 2D topo views for fencing or roads, it'll actually let you follow a line with stuff. But the Inventor, I couldn't figure out how to do it. I don't think it has it in there. So you have to do one at a time. But this one's easy. It's just linear arrayed along one line right here. And there's 17 and we just figured out a minute ago. So we're going to go to pattern. Okay. Pick your object, which is just our back rail or back, whatever it is, upright. And then go to the second one over, which is rectangular. And there's two possibilities there for directions. We only want a single pattern length or line. We don't want a bunch of them. So for your column direction, that's on right. You can pick that little arrow right there after you pick your part. Okay, so pick that little arrow and just pick any line going in that direction. It doesn't matter which one you pick. Okay, if it's going the wrong direction, you just flip it. So like that one's going the wrong direction. I picked it anyway. There's the flip button. Just flip it. Now it's going the right direction. Okay. And it said we needed 17 of them, and they were 2.5 wide plus a 1/4 inch in between them, so 2.75 apart. Okay. And let's just see how lucky I got there with my math. Usually I wouldn't, especially in front on a video. It's never right, but today I got lucky. All right. So I do have a spacer. Now I could increase that if I wanted to maybe like a 16th more and make those less, but I think it looks fine like that, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'll hit OK. Okay, this back rail, I'm going to let you do that on your own. I'm going to turn the video off, but basically this back rail just goes on the bottom of these 1/8 of an inch off, and then again flush with this thing, and the front goes flush with that with 1/8 of an inch off. This face gets flush with the back side of this one, and the top of it gets flush with the bottom of it. Okay, we'll do that together before I kill the video. So constrain, flush, that one to that one. It wasn't flush, it was opposed. I don't know why I said flush. And then so I switched over to mate and hit apply. And then the bottom of it, I guess I'll do next, or I could just do this face next, I guess, since I can see it easy. And that one's definitely flush. So flush, this face, and it's 1/8 off again, so we'll try positive this time, 125. And it went the other way this time, right? Looks like it, yeah, it sure did. So it should be negative on that one on mine at least. There we go. Hit apply. And then we got to do the two bottoms, and they're definitely opposed. So that one, or the bottom and top, I mean, so that with, I'm holding down the middle mouse and my shift key to get it to spin like that. Apply. All right, that looks right. Okay, and those would definitely be put together with biscuits. That's the way I would do it. Instead of tenon those is a whole lot of work. All right, it's starting to look really good. So the only thing left is the rails, and this thing's finished. And then put it in a drawing. Worked out really well. All right. All right, so part of the assignment was you have to modify these to be your own design in one way or another, okay? So I'm going to do that right now and show you. So I'm going to find this part. Actually, I know it's upright somewhere here. There's a component pattern. So it's in the pattern group now, right? At the very bottom is this last thing I did. All right, so I'm going to expand that. Now I'm going to go to element 1, expand that, and I finally get to my back slat, right? And I can double click on it. Now I can also just open that part and do the same thing. Okay, I can just open the back slat and modify it. It'll be exactly the same. All right, it'll probably be easier because I don't have all this stuff in the way. So I'm going to modify the extrusion sketch. So expand and put, I don't know, just put some design in here or change it in some way that you think it looks cool on the back pattern. That's how they dress these swings up a lot of time, all right? So I don't know. Making it for your grandma or somebody, maybe you put hearts and diamonds in. So I'm going to try to draw some hearts and diamonds in here. All right. Now you got fully constrain on them. I'm going to do it pretty fast, and after the video's over, I'll come back and constrain it. But so that's a diamond. You can pick equal, touch all these lines. I'm still on equal, so I'm on equal. Okay, it said over because I went too far. So they're all the equal length now. I could probably do an angle between them. Pick a real number, 50. That looks nice. Since they're equal, it forced it to be. So I'm going to add dimension from here to here and tell it some number. I don't know, 7.75. Make a real number again. From here to here, give it a real length. probably won't let me do that one. Yeah, it did. All right, so 1.5. And then I'm going to tell it vertically it's constrained to the middle of this, so it's in the middle in there. And evidently that surprises me that it's in the middle already. Well, I don't, you should know, because I did the wrong vertical and horizontal was the problem. So a lot of times in Inventor, vertical becomes horizontal, and you can't even go by the XY, because it's Y right here, and it's still not vertical. Still vertical became horizontal. So you can see the line though maybe in the video. So now that worked. Okay, so I've got that done. Evidently, I still need another dimension somewhere on this thing, so I'm going to go from here to here. So that shouldn't be able to be put in there, because I just told it centered, unless it didn't stick. It was horizontal. Yeah, I don't know why it let me put that dimension in there. I don't like that. So I'm going to go back to horizontal. Evidently, I didn't hit the buttons right. Where's that? Okay, that one should be fully locked. Now you can just grab it and see what else is left. Nothing's moving, but... So another thing to check to see what's left, I go to right click and I do display degrees of freedom. And so this bottom line's got all kinds of crazy crap going with it. So right click, hide the display degrees of freedom. Now I can probably grab that and it'll probably move or something. No, it won't really move. So it said I can go both directions. So let's throw a dimension on here from here to here. That locked it down. Surprised it made me do that because all these things were equal, but
I think that's
yeah, I guess that set the width of it. So I could have also probably gave it a width on the diamond too, but that one's finally done. Hallelujah. All right, then I'm gonna do a heart. Heart's a lot easier. 2 circles and 2 lines. So I'm gonna pick a circle here, make it maybe a 1-inch diameter. That's pretty big, but oh well. And then I'm gonna go to the quadrant right here and do a 1-inch diameter. Okay. And now I'm going to tell it that these two are, since vertical and horizontal, backwards. Tell it the 2 center points are in line horizontally. So I did that, and I'm going to draw a line, and I'll tangent it up later. So I just want to be on there, and I'll line up the center of that in a minute. Okay, so it's getting close already. I'm going to do vertical, which is horizontal, with the center of that point. Why is it not letting me do that? Not letting me pick that point there, even though it's an intersection. Oh well. So tangent. So fully constrain that all the way. Get them equal. Full dimension across there. To the center point. 0.3. Here to here. Doesn't want that one. From there to here, dimension those out till they're fully constrained. I don't want that one. I want center again. So horizontal from this point here, centered up. Leave that one off there to make it centered better. Horizontal again. Try again from that one to here. There, centered it up. Looks like I need a height probably from here to here. Maybe 0.75, and it's fully constrained. I think that's too tall, so 1.2 maybe, 1.1. Okay, so that's finished that sketch. So that'd be a way to fully change yours. So now I'm gonna have to share that sketch to be able to reuse it. So share sketch, and then you can see a million of them, right? So that's kind of annoying, but it's the one there. That's why you open the part by itself. So that's the one I probably want to do. So then I'm going to change the extrusion, or add a new extrusion, extrude, switch it over to cut. Find the part that I want to cut in there. So this, and the diamond. And make sure it's going, even though I got it on cut, I can tell it's going the wrong direction. That's so it's going to air out. So I'm switching direction on it. And then hit OK. I'm going to hide that sketch so it doesn't drive me crazy. Right click and turn visibility off. And save it and return. And it kept them all on. is very bad. So I'm going to go into that part and fix it myself. So file, seat slat 2. That wasn't it. It's an upright. Front upright, back upright.
Back slat.
Thank you. Back slat. Alright, and then I'm going to hide all those darn sketches. Which I could have done the other way in the other one too, but I'm getting frustrated with it. Now make sure it all actually looks good. It actually turned out pretty good. And then save it. And close all these back out. If it wouldn't be uprighted, remember you go into manage and hit the little update button. So something like that. So make it your own design. And I don't care if you want to use hearts and diamonds, that's fine. Whatever you want to do, but do something on your own with it. Okay. And then finish the full assembly drawing and upload the full assembly drawing. I'll put an example, but you should all know what that is by now. All right, so if you make a mistake like this and it's not tied up, remember you just pick that part, okay, and expand it over here and find the one that's messed up. So that one I put up on the wrong line here, so I'm just going to delete it. Right click and hit delete. Okay, and hit escape and move it around a little bit so you can see it better. And fix it, constrain. Sure it's all posed there. I got the wrong one again. Cancel. Constrain. Align. Align. Undirectional fly. Okay, but then that one's fixed, and then the next one's kind of the same way. So we go to flush. They'll kind of repeat. And this face. Fly. Turn it back to non-directional or to mate. Try to remember which one you just did. That's how this part sometimes is that bottom one. Pick this edge and the edge of the last one. Down directional, apply, switch over to tangent. This face, and then a curve it's supposed to be touching to. Sometimes you have to rotate it, so if it's down there like this, you might have to rotate it up so it'll actually work. Type constrain, face, directional, tangent. Didn't switch to tangent soon enough. Apply. Just keep on doing that. If you run out of slats, you'll probably need 13 of them. Just copy them. Copy. Pick apart. Change it to yellow. Next, no new parts. Okay. Do it again. So if you got a problem like I have in there with the seat slats, you just double click on this thing on bill of material there and you can delete certain lines like this one right here. There we go, and then I'm going to change the wording on that one to seat slat. Okay, there we go, looks better. Save it.